It's That Popular Podcast. Mitch Prinstein is a psychology professor at UNC Chapel Hill and the former chief science officer at the American Psychological Association. Aaron Keck is a political scientist and award-winning radio host. Together, they discuss the popular and not so popular quirks of human behavior. Welcome into That Popular Podcast. Now, here's Mitch and Aaron.
Hi, welcome into our latest episode of the podcast. Mitch, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, I think. How are you?
Good, but now I'm concerned and apprehensive at the fact that you've just delivered the I'm doing fine response to that question, which is like, I'm not actually doing fine.
All right, I'm not fine.
Good.
I'm a little thrown. I am.
All right.
Okay.
Something happened. What happened?
So I'm at Harris Teeter.
All right.
Right. So that's our local grocery store. And I don't know. I don't remember what I'm picking up, but there must have been some alcohol. So
this is already going real well.
I'm not drinking it in the aisle. I'll just say that,
of course not, no.
So, but what was it? It was like Thursday. It was maybe like 2:00, something like that. So I get to the register and I get carded. So, okay,
that's
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't see how anyone could possibly think that I'm under 21, but sure, fine. Love getting carded. So I give this kid my license and he looks at it and he's like, oh, yeah, okay. And I joke with that. I'm like, oh, just made it,
Right.
And he's like, yeah. And he hands me back my license and he pauses and then he looks back at me and he says, sir, are you eligible for any Thursday discounts? And I was like, oh my God, do not tell me that it's like a senior citizen discount.
I think it might have been a senior citizen discount.
He turned 8 shades of red and just continued to check out my groceries. I was like, what the hell?
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
That's it. It's all downhill from here.
It is, what's going on? I can't believe. First of all, I was like, okay, like maybe if I was rolled through here in a coffin, you could ask that. But short of that, oh my God, I've never been asked this before.
Well, how much of a discount is it? Like, are you?
Right. I can't believe it. And then I had to think it through. Wait a minute. It's not like I bought prune juice, Depends, and a condolences card for my hip. It was what the, what? And then I'm like, well, I'm buying alcohol Thursday to 2:00. Is that
maybe also could depend on what kind of alcohol you're buying. There's definitely the type of beer that young people buy and the type of beer that older people buy.
Yes, it was Blue Moon. I think that's a reasonably lame beer that anyone would buy.
That transcends generations.
I think that's cross-generational. Yeah. Oh, so I'm not feeling so great.
That's very unfortunate. I'm sorry.
I am a walking display of decay and degeneration, apparently. Yeah.
I did have this moment recently. I got my hair cut, and that same day I shaved, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, all coiffed and nice looking.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I am to the point now where I think everyone has, and it's different for different people when in their life cycle they peak in terms of physical attractiveness. There are some people who peak when they're in high school, and then you see them 30 years later, and it's like, I can see how you might have been attractive when you were a teenager, but your face just got you grew weird in the facial area. And then there are other people who peak much later in life. I know a guy who was not that attractive looking a guy until he was in his 50s. And then he started to figure it out, and he just kind of grew into this gray god kind of person. And most people are somewhere in the middle. I think I peaked when I was late 20s, early 30s. So I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm well past that now. Man, this is I look really good right now. This is my peak, as good as I can possibly look. And I peaked a long time ago, so looking at myself in the mirror right now is as good as I'm ever going to look for the entire rest of my life. And it's all downhill from here.
I was waiting for my peak. I've never had it, so apparently it's never coming.
We got to look at pictures of you over the course of your life and figure it out.
I have a face for radio, so I'm glad we're doing this without a video component. Yeah, because, oh my God. Well,
you look great.
It's apparently all downhill at this point. So, and what's so depressing about this is that, as a psychologist, I know how much physical attractiveness ends up playing such a huge role in our social relationships. I mean, it's crazy. Did you know that infants, literally like 3-month-old infants, are able to like tell who's more attractive than, and they behave differently and they spend more time looking at more attractive people.
Interesting.
It's kind of crazy that like there is some infant in a crib being like, ew, Uggo, get out of here. Like bring back the hot one. Like, because.
Oh man, 2 babies at the red carpet at the Oscars, just like commentating. Right,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the Muppets, the old guys there, but it's like these are infants sitting there spitting up at people walking by. Who is she wearing?
How did they do that test?
So actually really interesting. There are a couple of things they can do. Like there's all the stuff they do with infants now where you can look at how they are sucking on a pacifier and that can be like attached to stuff to see like, and the more that they habituate to something, they kind of, I guess, stop sucking on it more and more. They also do eye tracking stuff so you can see where an infant's eyes are looking, and they put up photos on 2 screens where like the baby's like in a little car seat, like all strapped in, and you can see their eyes like either going to the screen on the left or the screen on the right. And you can then measure. And what they do is they make sure that the experimenters are blind so they don't know like whether the attractive person's on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. All they're doing is coding the eyes, and they later sync it up and they're like, oh, the attractiveness, they were always looking more often at the attractive photos.
Interesting.
Attractiveness is symmetry.
Yeah.
So there have been these things where they take like supermodel faces and they computer composite them. And even if you take like 100 supermodel faces, the composite is more attractive than any of the individual supermodels.
Because it's extra symmetrical,
Because it's extra symmetrical. Like that's apparently the thing. And they've done this with celebrities to figure out like who actually has the most symmetrical face and whatever. And it's interesting, like why are we so drawn to symmetry?
Yeah. That said, if I held up a mirror to the middle of my face, it would not work. I don't know. Oh my God,
I would look like 2 totally different. Like on one side, I would look like I just had a disfiguring accident. On the other side, I would look like me if you had cataracts. And then And then the Picasso mashup of those 2 is sadly the thing that I walk around.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So well.
It's that high self-esteem that makes you you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Well, it works. No, I think some people talk about like maybe babies are interested in that evolutionary fitness, and symmetry is somehow kind of demonstrating that this is someone who has good genes. So maybe we're drawn to attractiveness because it tells us something about good genetic traits. For like survival of our species and whatnot.
Right. Maybe.
There's some of that. There's also, and this is really depressing, there's also all this research that shows that physically attractive people are actually more socially competent.
Right. I mean, I can see that, but the causal arrow goes in reverse, right? It's not like people who are attractive are naturally more socially competent. People who are attractive are more likely to find themselves in situations that are socially easier, so they are used to being sociable, right? I would imagine.
That may be. But, some people take it even a step further. Like, okay, so there's this thing called the transactional model, and it's basically this idea that we are constantly back and forth between what we give out into the world, how people treat us, and how we respond to how we're treated. And it's just like a constant cycle for our entire lives.
Right.
So there was this really cool study. They went to crazy extremes for this study. There was an attractive lady who was asked to interact with 1-year-old research participants. But they wanted for the same lady, without her knowing whether she looked attractive or not, to interact with the kids. They can manipulate the caregiver's attractiveness.
Okay.
Right? So they actually had a Hollywood makeup artist, kind of like in a Mrs. Doubtfire kind of way, like put on a latex mask. And there were 2 masks. One was her actual face. So basically it felt the same to her. She didn't know which mask was being put on.
Right.
But it basically was just her own attractive face. But the other one, they made like these subtle tweaks. Like they just made the nose a little bit longer. They made the chin a little bit kind of longer. And they made less symmetric, like a little bit of the eyes. Real, not like horror show,
right?
Kind of Halloween mask, but like just tiny little changes, you know?
Yep.
And they actually went around the lab and they covered all reflective surfaces. So once she was wearing this mask, she had no idea which one she was in.
Yep.
Then they brought in a bunch of babies over the course of, they did this experiment for months, of course. And she spent hours in makeup and whatever. And the babies...
I just appreciate the number of people involved in this experiment who clearly moved to California to go into the movie industry.
That's right. Exactly. And they found themselves, instead of working on a Spielberg film, they're doing this psychology experiment. Yeah. This is sad. This is not on their IMDb page, sadly. But thanks to them, cool psych science. So we have these babies, and they actually behaved better for the attractive caregiver in that condition.
Yeah. And she's acting exactly the same because she doesn't know.
Well, she is, but think about it. So if you have a baby that's crying and being fussy, you're acting very differently than if you have a baby that is being really cooperative and cooing and smiling.
So
and
then
playing.
Her behavior changes.
So everything starts on a cycle, and they find that and there was an episode of 30 Rock about this, which I thought was pretty cool. People who are attractive they naturally have easier social interactions. They're invited into different kinds of social interactions, not just like sexual interactions, but, just generally people want to spend more time with them. They smile at them more.
Yep.
They see the world as a place where everything's just kind of going their way. And because they get these extra opportunities, they develop extra social skills because they have more chance to hang out with people in pleasurable, fun ways. And then it just cycles.
I can see that.
So then you find yourself later with wow, this person seems so attractive and they seem so socially comfortable and they seem to be at home in all of these complex social interactions. And damn it, it's because they're they really have found extra opportunity to learn more sophisticated social skills than the rest of us who have our cat throwing up on us because, oh my God, what we look like. And we just sit and watch TV and we're not interacting with anybody.
When we post this thing online, we got to post it with a picture of you so that people can actually look at your face and understand that you're not actually the hideous monster that you're making yourself out to be. No.
Did you see me walk through the door and my stomach entered about 20 minutes before the rest of my body?
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I get that because I'm thinking back to my own life. My ugly phase was in middle school, and
everyone's ugly phase is in
also
middle school.
True.
Yeah.
But I was the ugly kid in middle school among all the other ugly kids. And I was very socially awkward. And a little bit later in life, late 20s, early 30s, I'm not a supermodel, but I looked better then than I did when I was 12, and I was more socially competent then. So, yeah.
Have you ever known somebody, and maybe this is you, but I think that everyone was awkward in middle school, but they become more attractive later in life, but they still inside think that they look like they looked at 15.
Oh, yeah.
I have talked with a number of people, whether clinically or, undergraduate students, who clearly have come into their own at some point in college, but they walk around insisting and almost they just project themselves in this sad sack way of I feel terrible about myself. And it's just this is very confusing because objectively, you are not the person that you seem to think you are in your own head.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I know a lot of people like that. I was lucky because I kind of transformed in a very big way between 8th and 9th grade. So it was, and that was the move from middle to high school. So it was a real sudden shift all around. So
was this a whole pubertal development, growth spurt, everything?
It was pubertal development. It was there was an incident that summer where I just ditched all of my friends all at once and got new ones as I got into high school. I started doing more extracurricular stuff, and it was just complete transition.
So at my high school graduation, I have a photo of me with my high school friends. I am several inches shorter than them. Mm-hmm. I am wearing glasses with bifocals. And hey, back in these days, these were the super cool metal glasses with the weird nose guard
with the
thing.
Obvious semicircle.
Right, exactly. So super cool. And I had blonder hair. Well, I had hair, like it was blonder back then. So like
you've got hair now. I'm looking at it.
It's the work of a sorceress who makes it look like I have hair. And 2 years later, I'm in Manhattan, because when you go to high school in Long Island, there's like a bus that picks you up from college, drives you to the Upper East Side, assigns you an apartment. And everyone from my high school was like between like 75th and 85th on second or third. It was just all this. So we're walking around, and I swear to you, we ran into a few kids from high school that we hadn't seen in, at this point, like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
We're all standing around and we're talking, and, you know, we must have been talking for 10, 15 minutes. And finally, this guy who is talking, you know, to me and my friends says, by the way, have you ever heard from Mitch Prinstein? Like, whatever happened to Mitch? And they're like, he's standing right next to you. And I'm literally standing there like, what? So apparently I changed so radically that someone I went to school with for 13 years, I was standing next to for 15 minutes talking to them, and they had no idea who I was.
That is wild.
It's so, yeah.
I ran into a friend from high school last year, and I've not been in high school in, you know, more than a quarter century, and we have not seen each other but once in all of those times, and we recognized each other instantly, which was very interesting. Although Facebook does help in that regard.
That's
like you
true.
see pictures of each other, but
I have been off
that's
that
crazy.
for a while, but no, and this was all I know, it's crazy, but well, so anyway.
Did you take that as a compliment or an insult?
I don't know. I mean, the fact that I had grown a few inches, I was like, yeah, great. Because I was so notoriously like very, very short that the fact that I was not, I was like, okay, maybe that's it. But then I had other experiences later where people would be like, who are you? And I don't get it. And it was just very weird. But, but
also,
yeah,
just
I
the
do
fact
think
that
we carry around with us that like 14-year-old version of how attractive we were. And then somehow for the rest of our lives, we're like, I've sometimes like seen photos of people and then like, oh, now that I see this picture of you at 14, I understand you today in your 30s, 40s, 50s way more than I ever did before, because this is who you actually have been in every interaction I've had with you. And this makes much more sense now.
So what does this mean for us, like individually, like going about our daily lives? Like, how do we take this information?
As much plastic surgery as possible. Clearly, we are afforded numerous lifetime benefits.
It's all just viral marketing for the plastic surgeon you know who lives next door.
No, I mean, I do think that, right? I mean, I think that it's a crazy world with attractiveness. It's, you know, we can't solve that, right? And oh my God, I mean, as two males, we probably deal with this a teeny infinitesimal fraction of how much females have to deal with this all the time. Not to mention facial attractiveness, but body attractiveness. And then if you think now about like built-in beauty filters on social media, God help anyone who was born from 2000 on, because it's totally crazy now. But I do think in a way, like, we want to have some grace about what we look like, what we have looked like, what we might look like. And I don't know, just how many people do you know where how attractive they are changes radically after an hour of knowing them? And the fact is, I think we're a lot more interested in each other as human beings, even, you know, just shortly after you get past that. That very temporary first impression. So I don't know. I think that's a part of it.
Here's another question, and there's got to be some research on this in terms of like the way that we interact with each other based on attractiveness levels. Is it a consistent spectrum, or are there like jumps in terms of like, oh, you're a 1, so I'm going to treat you like this. You're a 4, so I'm going to treat you like this. You're a 10, so I'm going to treat you like this. And it's like a step up instead of like, you're slightly more attractive, so I'll treat you slightly better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it is more of these dramatic differences. So I think if you're walking around with a bunch of people who are reasonably kind of taking care of themselves and fine, I don't think this stuff makes any difference really at all. I think it's the difference between someone who might be, you know, very much not following whatever attractiveness trend there may be to someone who's a model, you know, I think there's bigger changes in that. And I think the smaller your context, the more those things get exaggerated. So if you're in a small office with 20 people, then that one person who's more attractive, probably it's a bigger deal. But if you live in Manhattan and you're walking down the street passing, 10,000 people a day, I think it's a different story.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But it is interesting to think about. And I think where we can make a change for ourselves and also for our friends and parents is, are we accidentally kind of affording different social opportunities to people because they're attractive or not? And believe it or not, research says, and this is controversial, but it's legit, that even parents treat their own kids differently based on the symmetry of their kids' faces.
I could see that.
I mean, no one wants to believe that, right? Like, no, I love all my kids the same. But I mean, research that kind of looks at this, and it's somewhat, is it because that kid has developed different behaviors because of everyone treating them differently, and we're spending more or less time with them because they're more or less easy to take care of, but it creates the cycle.
Interesting. So last question, have you been back to that Harris Teeter?
Yes, and I put on the teen clothes. I could have pajama bottoms and, like Crocs, and I walk through with headphones on, and, I bought all the candy. No.
How do you do, fellow kids?
I said 6'7" a lot,
Let the record show he kind of did the motion for 6'7", but not quite. It's really more of a shoulder shrug than an up and down, but,
I have been back. I will not go back at Thursday at 2:00. I think I'm going to not go at 2:00 ever again or not Thursdays ever again. That's a dangerous time. If you learn nothing else from this episode, do not go to the grocery on Thursdays if you are in any way wanting to feel young.
This has been That Popular Podcast. Find all our episodes on thatpopularpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.